Scene.
Oh, did we do that right?
Whatever. Okay.
We did this.
So this is episode 5, right? Or
It is indeed
5?
episode
Yeah.
5. Yeah.
Of Another One for the Books. This is a podcast where we go through fantasy books, science fiction books, and the first mountain that we are tackling is a big one, which is The Works of the Cosmere by Brandon Sanderson, and we are on the first book. So speaking of that, we bit off a little more than we could chew last episode. We read from chapters 12 all the way through to 20, or through 20, which I think I was looking at the book before we even recorded and we mentioned it. It's from page 154 to page 294. So yeah, it was a lot. It was a little more than we liked. How did you like reading all that?
It felt like homework that I had to like take notes and everything like that.
Yeah.
And trying to compile all those chapters into something that could be talked about. And so what I ended up doing was having more of a broader sense of where each of the main protagonists, and I say protagonist because Hrathen, I'd say, is a protagonist, not an antagonist.
Oh yeah, I think so.
I kind of just made a skim of all of them, and it doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
I very much enjoy the fact that we go into little details, little tidbits that Sanderson throws in here and there.
I like that too.
Setting the scene.
Yeah.
Because there's some things that, I mean, maybe you primed me for that, Mike, where Sanderson will just have something mentioned casually and then becomes a big proponent later on in the chapters or in the books. So one of those things, I think, is the fact that they're all holed up. I mean, Raoden and his gang are holed up in a Karethi temple. So I wonder if being in a temple, getting all spruced up, would be kind of a twist on Hrathen when he shows up later on. When he's trying to denounce Elantrians and they see that this is the only temple that's actually nice. And so people will get confused as to what's,
that's an interesting point, actually.
I mean, that's something I picked up on that might be a thing.
Right.
Where they see like this shiny beacon in the middle of the city, this temple that's supposed to be anti-Elantrian, be kept up and maintained and inhabited by Elantrians. So later in the chapter, we get revealed that Serene wants to do her widow trials. And we'll go into that a bit, and that would involve her going into Elantris.
Yes.
So Hrathen might get involved as well to try and stop that, because the whole plan for her to go into Elantris is to prevent Hrathen's change in power.
Yeah, I think they're all gonna cross paths here soon, and that's an interesting point about the chapel, which I didn't pick up on. And in this episode, you're going to get a lot less of those because we read so much. So I think we've decided going forward, no matter the book or how many pages, well, then maybe if there's some really short chapters, but we are going to do 5 chapters per episode. It's going to take us a while to get through this, but both you and I have a lot of hobbies and things that we do, including reading other books right now.
Oh boy.
I am nearing the end of one of the Second Era of Mistborn books, which I haven't read. And I know you're reading a lot, and we also are in a book club separate from this where we're reading more. So yeah, this is going to be side reading for us, I think, which doesn't mean that we won't, do the deep dives and we won't like it just as much. But in order to sort of balance our lives with this, I think, 5 chapters going forward is what we're going to be aiming for.
Sounds good to me. It just feels better. I don't want to be less, because we'll get stuck on a book for so long. And if we want to explore more works from other authors, we would need to speed up or increase the amount of reading. So if you've listened to last episode, well, I guess I could say readers. If you listen to the last episode,
yeah, they are.
Listeners, followers, I don't know what you would call yourselves, I suppose. We said we were going to try reading more so we can cover more ground. And it seems like we just took a bit more than we can bargain for. Yeah,
exactly. This isn't our job, so it's something we're doing on the side. So yeah, we're gonna slow it down a bit. But for this episode, we're going to be covering quite a bit, chapters 12 to 20 again. But before we do that,
13
chapters of 13 to 20.
Yeah.
Did we read chapter? I don't know. Yeah, you might be right.
Oh no.
I don't think we read chapter 12 last time.
We could do 12. We could do 12 if you
want. It
want.
might be a recap, but yeah. So
Mm.
we are going to get into that, but before we get into that, how have you been?
Oh man, I wrote a book. Oh, I yelled that really loudly, but here you
You
go. So
did.
this is my thesis for audio listeners. I'm holding my thesis in front of the camera,
Yeah.
and oh man, it's so beautiful. I love it. This is like one of my life goals is to write a book. It's my thesis, so double whammy. There you go. Oh my god, it's just amazing to get this in the mail when things have been like on the up and up so far, and this adds the cherry on top
Yeah, for
of
sure.
this lovely Sunday. But it's a Monday actually right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's very happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I've done a lot of self improvement as well,
Mm.
and made realizations about me that I wasn't expecting.
Through the
So
process of writing a thesis?
well, that's another story.
Okay.
Yeah. So, oh man, that's a 5-year, one fire pandemic and a full time job and full time thesis moment later, I get a
Mm-hmm.
book.
Right.
So I'm proud I was able to stick that out and be persistent and put my foot down when I needed to.
For sure.
No, the other aspect was, coming to realization that I can do things for people I never thought I would have. So I'm not going to go too much into detail with that. And Mike, I told you the story about this in full detail before,
Mm.
but there's a bit of a stigma against individuals, not against individuals, but the fact that individuals go through cancer and there's a big fear for them to get back into the world as they used to know it. So I was asked to think about cancer being part of my life
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to be involved with someone, and it really took me by surprise, but they gave me the space to think about it, and I was honestly shocked that, well, I want to say shocked, but surprised with myself and proud of myself that this wouldn't be a problem, and that I would be more than happy to deal with it. So yeah, I didn't expect that because I knew like cancer is gonna be part of our lives anyway. Like I wouldn't, if I had a partner and I had cancer, I would want them to help me, like support me throughout it. So I honestly would do the same for my partner as well. But I didn't think about it being with a stranger that had had it before and
Mm.
asked me to consider it.
Mm-hmm.
And for a lot of people, that's a heavy topic to open up about. So it's so the PSA, I guess, for this bit is, uh, it's good to have that conversation because it is a heavy load to think about and to bear going forward.
Yeah.
So, and I was pleasantly surprised by my willingness to do it.
Nice. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
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 Cool, man. That's really
Thanks.
exciting times for you. You're leveling up.
I am, and I'm still alive. I still have my job. I'm still working there.
Right. The job that you just started.
The job that I just started. The last episode, you were gonna ask me like, "Oh, how you doing this week?" And I would say, "Oh, I'm dead. I hate my life. I have a job now. I don't want to go."
Yeah, you don't have
It's so
nothing but
good.
free time.
Nothing but free time. To be honest, it's really chill. I'm scarily chill, but
Yeah.
I'm able to do the work that they are asking me and apparently more because I've been asking all these questions that they were not prepared for. And so they just literally gave me the book to write about how to test all of these satellite subsystems. They're just like, here, you know how to do it. You take care of it.
Cool.
It's just like, oh, great. It's my third weekend and I got so much responsibility. This is going to be so much fun. Oh,
Hey, that's
boy.
great. Yeah, you're becoming an integral cog in the wheel now.
I'm fitting right in
Nice.
super easily. I'm making friends. I'm able to go into the office pretty much whenever I feel like, which is kind of scary because this is a very big corporate company dealing in aerospace, and they have many subdivisions, from like satellite systems, which I'm part of, robotics, defense contracts, many other things as well. And so they have a mandate that you have to come in on these specific days, and you can only work from home on these other specific days.
Hybrid.
And I followed that. And then my managers, I spoke with them and they said, you can, we just want you to do the work. Be here on those days, but make sure you do the work for the week.
Yeah, I mean, that's most,
like
I think most companies have made that transition, at least most tech companies have made that transition to, they're not really policing your hours or where you are. It's just, do you get your work done?
Mm.
And for the most part, yeah, it's not hard to get your work done if you're just concentrating even for a few hours a day. So yeah,
Mm.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that you landed at a place that's nice like that. My company is also the same.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. Yeah.
It's just so relaxing.
Hmm.
It's so convenient because now
Yeah.
I'm able to do all these things after work. And now it's such a, I mean, again, curtains are drawn, or my lights are gonna get blown into my eyes. I can't see
Yeah.
anything even on my screen. But recently, I've picked up windsurfing, and it's something I
Mm.
wanted to do. And I just come home, drop all my stuff off, eat something, and I head to the beach and I just go windsurfing. It's just the coolest thing.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's pretty sick.
Yeah.
Oh, and I started to relearn my guitar. That's not a big deal. I have so much time now that my master's is done. I'm just like, oh, I wish I could maintain playing a musical instrument.
Hmm.
I used to play the saxophone in high school
All right, me
in
too.
band. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Um, and I had bought a guitar during the pandemic, thinking that I would play it, and then kind of
Okay.
didn't.
Yeah.
But then it's just been sitting in the corner of my room in like the closet for a long time, and then a month ago, uh, when I wasn't in a very good place, I just took it out, started strumming on it, and then just really took off from there. So yeah, I'd
It's awesome.
say I'm doing great, Mike. How are
Sounds
you?
like it. Yeah, you're really next time I see you, I'm gonna get you to play Wonderwall for me.
Oh no, that's the one I avoid learning.
Now you gotta learn it. That and Stairway to Heaven.
Oh no, I would play Stairway to Heaven. I would. I love that song. It's such a good song.
Anyways, yeah, that's great. I'm glad to hear you're doing really well. It's things are finally coming together for you.
Yes, surprisingly they are. Yeah, I'm very fortunate that
Yeah.
I have a stubbornness in me that I could just ride out all this pain.
Yeah, right.
Mm. Oh my goodness.
Now you got
Anyway,
to the
how
other
are you
end.
doing? There
Yeah, I'm
as
doing
always.
well. It's been like we haven't actually met to record an episode in I think 2 weeks
Mm-hmm.
because I've been busy helping
Mm-hmm.
family out with stuff. They came to town and I had to help them out with a few things here and there. Also have lots of friends in town from out of town, barbecues, other kind of
Oh.
visitings and stuff. And I was also down where you are for
Oh.
24 hours.
Oh.
And yeah, had an appointment there and then spent the rest of the time walking around. I went to what are they? Independent bookstores, like used bookstores. Went to
Mm-hmm.
two of them.
Secondhand bookshops.
Yeah,
Ooh,
went to
which
two of them.
ones?
McLeod's and my
Yeah.
personal favorite is Carson's on Main Street.
Mm.
Um, I'm trying to build up a collection of first edition Wheel of Times, and I bought two more. They had them there.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I
Oh,
also
okay.
bought a couple hardcover Sanderson books because
Of
I'd like
course.
to have my collection of my Sander shelf be comprised of hardcover books.
Okay.
So yeah, I did
Ooh.
that. Also
Mm.
got ordered some stuff from because this is we're talking about Sanderson. Ordered some
Yep.
stuff from Dragonsteel. Got a poster of the Final Empire, which is the next book we'll read from Mistborn.
Ooh. Okay.
And also there was so the year of Sanderson is this year. It's where he did his Kickstarter last year, where you paid
Mm-hmm.
an exorbitant amount of money and you get a book every 2 months, I think, or a book every 3 months. Yeah, once a quarter you get a book,
Something like
and
that, yeah.
every month you get a box of merch. And I looked
Huh.
into it when it was happening, and I was like, I don't know. It's like I think it would be like 600 Canadian or something. It's for the whole year, but
Whoa.
still, at the time, I was like, that's a lot of money to drop.
Mm-hmm.
But the stuff that doesn't sell for the Kickstarter, he sells on his website afterwards. So one of the
Oh.
things that they had was a Mistborn fan bundle, which comes with like these cool bookends and like stickers and plushies and all this stuff. So I bought that too. It's not here yet,
Mm-hmm.
but I'll show it probably once we get to Mistborn. I
Hmm.
mean, maybe not. There are some spoilers in there. Anyways, I'll show it at some point. And other than that, I have a very good friend in town, and him and I grew
Mm.
up together playing like the same video games and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
my video game collection, we had it in storage when I was living down in Vancouver, and it got broken into, and it all
No.
got stolen, which
What?
sucked. Yeah, yeah. So all of my old like my original like Nintendo, all of
Oh
my
my
like
God.
copy of like Chrono Trigger, and like all of these
No.
classic games
Oh
got
my
stolen.
goodness.
Yeah, it sucked.
Oh
For
no.
sure. I mean,
What?
also I lost a lot of like family stuff. Like I lost a lot of jewelry that my dad had and things like that, which also
Oh
sucks.
no. That's even worse.
Yeah, it was worse
Oh
for
my
sure.
goodness.
But my friend, who again grew up with me and played a lot of video
Mm,
games, I told him that, oh yeah, I'm trying to build up my collection again, because
mm.
in the shelf that you can see behind me, I have like a Metal Gear Solid there and a couple. I know it's hard to see, a couple Super Nintendo cartridges and stuff. And yeah, we went out one day and he just came over and gave me a box, and it was all of his games
Oh
that
my
he
god.
kept. So
That's
now
awesome.
I've got all of
Huh.
the PlayStation 1 era Final Fantasies and some other
Nice.
older games and stuff like that. So
Nice.
hopefully my shelves will have a few more things on display soon.
Mm.
So that was really nice of him. And
Oh,
yeah,
that's so awesome.
other than that, just been working away. Enjoying the weather. It's really hot. Luckily we have air conditioning. And yeah, it's been a great summer so far. So looking forward to seeing what else happens, and also
Mm.
getting through this book.
Oh my god, I hope we do that.
Yeah.
Good
So that's our
fun of the
segue.
summer for sure.
Right. Yeah. So that is our segue into starting to cover how many chapters is this? From 12
Oh,
to
it's 12.
20?
We'll say 12 to 20.
Yeah.
We can recap 12.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So yeah, quite a bit. So we should probably get started.
Mhm.
In the interest of time, these are going to be more high level what is it? Summaries of what happened in the chapters, but
Mhm.
we can also, of course, go into the nitty gritty if we feel like it, if we find things that we thought were interesting. So I'll just talk about what happened. If you got anything, interrupt me, and we'll just go through it from there.
Yeah, man.
Cool. All right. Chapter 12 is a Hrathen chapter, from what I can remember from this chapter, this is the one where he is giving a sermon at the beginning, and after he finishes his sermon, Dilaf comes in and gives another sermon, and he kind of notices the differences between
Mhm.
him and Dilaf in their approach, and Dilaf is very like emotional, and he like really hates the Elantrians, and because of that
Mhm.
he's able to control the crowd, or the crowd is more loyal to him than they are Hrathen, because Hrathen is more logical, and he doesn't have that strong of emotions, but Dilaf
Yeah.
does. Also, Dilaf did his sermon without permission from Hrathen,
That's the
so
thing.
yeah, there
Yeah.
was a little bit like he disciplined him. He said something like, I'm your Odiv, or I can't remember exactly the terms with the relationship that they are, but
Mhm.
you're my apprentice, so you need to listen to me. But again, he can't really say anything because of how well Dilaf did. So he kind of like praises him and sort of chastises him for his disobedience.
Mhm.
Um, you got anything?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I think we did cover this last time, or
Okay.
last episode, because we made the connection that Dilaf channeled a lot of fascist hatred.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Um, so the fact that, again, Dilaf comes in to essentially spew hate speech at the
Mm-hmm.
Elantrians and
Yep.
to get the crowd, the parish, I suppose. I think that was the word I was trying to think of last time, into a bit of a frenzy. We
Mm-hmm.
get to get a bit of a reveal later on that they actually get even a more bloodlust
Oh
frenzy.
yeah.
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 So we get to see Dilop's disobedience very much apparently
Mm-hmm.
right in front of Hrathen, not behind him anymore.
No. Yes.
So
Like in open disobedience.
open disobedience for the fact that he would just go in right behind Hrathen when Hrathen believed he just finished his sermon and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing else to talk about. But then
Yep.
Dilaf comes in and does more on top of that, and Hrathen is very much like surprised, of course, but in awe of the ability that Dilaf can convey more to this crowd. And he's watching the crowd, and they are just absolutely enthralled
They are.
by
Yeah.
Dilaf's performance.
Yeah.
But he's also starting to get worried, as as we said, he chastises him later on.
Mm-hmm.
But he also like praises him. He doesn't like. I guess it's like disciplining a child for getting too many cookies when he told him you can have one.
Right. Yeah.
And he's like one handful, and he grabs a bunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'll just take them all.
So, yeah. But we also get a bit of Tellery showing up.
Yes, and he makes a deal with
Hmm
Hrathen. We don't know the terms of the deal yet. I'm pretty sure we find them out later, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly.
Yeah.
Um, and that's where the chapter ends because, well, not exactly. So there's a little bit more.
Mm.
So Hrathen needs to communicate the details of the deal with Wern, and we learn that he has his own Seon in a box.
He can't
Uh,
do that.
I mean,
He's not
so
allowed.
he talks about they can't use, like, only really high level Bjorns
Mhm.
are able to know the secret that they're allowed to use Seons. And he talks about, like, weaker minds would become corrupted if they used it. I don't really know. I mean, I don't really know what that means, but it's
Mm,
because I don't know. I don't think there's any magic to the Seons that they would actually corrupt you. I think it's just like they've deemed these things to be unholy, so
yeah.
it's that kind of thing.
It's more
But
like a sin. Like they
mhm,
don't want people to use them
yes,
because it's against Javis' will,
yes,
or something like that. So when Hrathen talks about it, when he's because he hates using it because
hmm
it feels as an insult to do it, but he
hmm
needs to contact Wern.
yep,
And interestingly, Wern is the one that gave all of his head priests, the Bjorns in this case, seance to communicate with him.
yes.
So how loosey goosey is this religion when it comes to necessity,
I mean,
right? And those in
yeah,
power.
a lot of
Mm,
organizations that are strict when it comes to the top. It's it's
hmm
the leaders can do whatever the heck they want.
Rules for
Um,
me, but not for thee.
exactly. Yep.
Yep.
So there is something interesting to note here. I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but I am
Yes.
99% sure that there is a Stormlight connection with this.
Ooh.
Uh, it happens in like book 3 or 4, so
Oh.
we got a long way to go before anything about this.
Oh
But
my goodness.
when I saw when he said, like, he had a metal box and he opened it and the Seon was in there, I was like, oh my god, that's
Mm.
where it's from. Anyways,
Wow. Metal
many
box.
many
Okay.
pages. When we get there, I'll try to remember this conversation. It'll be like
Many,
years
many
from now.
pages.
I will try to tell you.
This is a form of torture. I'm not sure I signed up for the right podcast.
Just you wait.
Oh boy. I
Yeah,
unless at least I get to read other books. That's it. That's the positive.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, so that is the end of chapter 12. Chapter
Hmm.
13 is a Raoden chapter, and we are back with Raoden uh, in Elantris. Him and
Boy.
Galadon are searching through some books, and Raoden
Hmm.
finds one that's written entirely in Aeons. So he thinks, I don't know if he's able to understand a bit of it, right? Like he knows what they mean. Like I think his
Mm,
tutor taught him the real basic stuff, but not.
he still needs a dictionary
That's right.
because
He Yes. Yep.
he's showing it to Galadon or no, yeah, Raiden goes up to Galadon and says, "Look what I found." And it's
hmm
still in Galadon's bookshelf, I believe.
hmm
That's right.
Yeah, they're in
And
his
so,
library. Yep.
yeah, and then Galadon says he doesn't know what the writing is. But every time Galadon says he doesn't know anything, I'm immediately suspicious about him because he does drop some things about himself that he wasn't supposed to, that
Okay.
Raiden picks up. Um, and that's a thing we'll talk about later on. But
Okay.
from what you said, I think Raiden doesn't know entirely how to decipher it. I think he recognizes different
Yeah.
symbols, but he doesn't know how to put them all together. So he has a
Yeah.
dictionary.
He has a basic knowledge of it and a dictionary that he
Mm,
uses to translate. And he
mm,
thinks that because it's written in Aeons, that this book is about Aeon Door, the magic system. So he thinks he can use the knowledge from this book by translating it to learn something about the magic
mm,
system and help him on his journey to, fix whatever's going on here.
mm.
So there's also a few uh, of the people that are part of his crew and some new arrivals. So the
Yeah.
Maresh guy is building a roof for the church out of like this clay-like material.
Hmm.
There's a new arrival called Lauren, who is making clearing space for a farm. That what we learn later. It's going to be a
Hmm.
farm that he's going to use to plant the corn seeds that he's been hoarding from the new arrivals.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
reveal.
that is the
He gets
reveal.
their
Yeah.
food and only takes the ones with seeds in it.
Yeah, which is
Mm.
very interesting, actually.
Yeah.
And then also there is someone who's already an Elantrian who comes to join Raoden's crew. His name is Kahar,
Hmm.
and he's heard the rumors that Raoden has a cure for the hunger. We
Yeah.
learn later that the cure is just keeping yourself busy so
Staying
you can't
busy.
think about it, which is also ingenious. Um, so I think he sets him to like cleaning slime or something.
Yeah.
Like there's like some floors that he needs to wipe down. He's like, go do. He's like, will you tell me the cure after? He's like, yep, go do it. And I think later on, this guy comes to him and he's like, he realizes, he understands that the cure is the work, and that's kind of, I think, when it's revealed to the readers as well.
hmm
Yeah.
well, yeah, well, there is no cure for this.
No, there's no
Um,
cure. It's just you're busying yourself.
yeah, there's
Yeah.
two things that I am drawing tangents to this moment of there's a cure, quote unquote.
Right.
The first part is that in the previous Raoden chapter, we had Raoden made Galadon run away to try to convince the new recruit to run after him because he has the cure, quote
Mm.
unquote.
Yes,
So
that's right.
Raoden was able to recruit individuals using like schemes that Galadon isn't privy to.
Hmm.
Like Galadon just gets thrown into
Hmm.
the moment. But we get a hint of a makeshift fake cure by
Yeah.
Raoden when he says this, and I think
Yeah.
that's what gets the rumor to spread
I think you're right.
uh, from this individual.
Hmm.
But later on, Raoden and Galadon, or I think it's more Raoden. Raoden comes to realization. I think it's from reading the Andor book that the thing that's happening with the Elantrians, or specifically with the Shayad itself,
Hmm.
is that someone has tried to close it off.
Hmm. Like
Yeah. So they're
close
so
off
that
what?
so
The connection
that's the thing.
to the
Yeah,
magic?
that's what Raiden is thinking about. Like
Interesting.
something or someone has been trying to uh I wouldn't say block, I would say uh sever, I think is the right
Mm.
connection.
Hmm.
So have you read anything from Philip Pullman?
No.
Amber Spyglass, Subtle Knife,
Nope.
and not even Golden Compass.
No, I didn't read Golden
Oh,
Compass. That's a young
really?
adult book, right?
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
but it's a really good one.
No, I know it's an older one. It's just
Mm,
not one that I read when I was younger.
okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, well then maybe that won't make sense then if I try to say, "Hey, remember this?"
You can try.
So, The Subtle Knife, the second book,
Uh-huh.
has a character use a magical knife that can
Uh-huh.
open interdimensional portals.
Okay.
So, my thinking is that somehow within Elantris, or there's like a wellspring, quote unquote, or a portal even, where someone was able to channel and create magical entity to convert individuals into Elantrians prior to being,
Hmm.
corrupted by the Shayad. So I
Right.
wonder if that's a similar situation when someone's tried to botch it or try to close it or try to do more with it. So a
Right.
cure, I guess when coming back to the cure part, is that there might actually be inadvertently a cure or a solution to fix this.
Yeah. I
Simply
mean,
because Raiden thinks that there might be a connection there.
yeah, that's what he is looking for. Like he is looking
Mm.
for a cure. He doesn't have one, which is what some of the Elantrians believe, but he's definitely looking for one.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a
I
really
thought
good
he just
theory.
like stumbled upon it though. I don't think he jumped in knowing that there would be one. Am I
No,
wrong
I mean, like
assuming that?
that's the goal though. Their goal, like the reason why Galadon
Mm.
showed Raoden the books, the reason why he kept the books, and the reason why they're searching through the books is because they think that there's a way to fix what's happening in Elantris. I don't know if
Oh,
they
my
think
bad.
I don't know if they think that like there's a way to fix it like you're talking about, like get
Mm.
everything back to the way it was, or if
Mm.
there's a way to fix it in just that people who go to Elantris and are affected by the Shayad can just live a normal life, an eternal
Oh, I
normal
see.
life, right? But that is a good theory.
Hmm.
Yeah, I like that one. Um, so yeah, going on a little bit further, there is this is when Karada comes to the chapel.
Yes.
One of the
With her
leaders of one of the
goons.
gangs. Yes, she's armed. I think Saolin, the soldier,
Mm-hmm.
raises the alarm bells, stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. Um, so they have a conversation. I'm trying to remember what exactly. Like, I think she just orders that to destroy the building and to like beat up or hurt all of the followers. But
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah,
Yep.
but if I remember correctly, Raoden, this is when he negotiates her, not doing that. He gives him a way, gives her an out, like, you don't have to do this. I can do this for you. And his offer is to sneak her out of Elantris and into the palace, because this is Galadon gave us information previously that she's been caught, I think, 2 times already, and if she gets caught a third, that they're gonna execute her. Yeah. So they decide to do that. Raoden kind of explains why to Galadon. I don't recall exactly what his reasoning was. Do you?
His reasoning was to try to unite all the gangs together, so there wouldn't be any conflict in
Right.
Elantris.
Okay.
And so Galadon is getting a little bit concerned with that,
Yeah.
because the more that Raoden gets more people on his side, gang leaders and their gangs included, the other gangs will pick up more of an aggressive stance towards that and perceive it as a threat.
It's also like, what he suggested, like, I'm going to sneak you out of Elantris. Like, that is, for someone who, like, if they get hurt, they will be feeling pain for the rest of eternity. That's a big, like, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. There's a lot of risk involved in that.
Oh, for Raoden himself, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, understandable. But he doesn't get that much damage, if at all.
No, not much. So yeah,
he gets scrapes and bruises, but not anything severe.
Yeah,
but like adds up to what he's already had. That's the
right.
thing.
So they end up going into a well. I don't remember exactly where it is in Elantris, but it does descend
middle. It's
in the middle of Elantris. Oh, because there's only one well, right?
There's only one well.
That's right.
Well,
yeah,
not rel. Sorry.
And it descends into the Aredel River, which is what flows under Elantris and into the ocean. And they float downstream from this well into, or this downstream on the river into Kay. And they also gain access to the castle from a hidden passage that Raoden knows about, because he knows his father is really paranoid and he always wants to have a way to sneak out of the castle. So he knows about this secret place. And they end up, because it goes right into the king's bedchamber, and I'm pretty sure he's sleeping there, and they sneak past him.
They sneak past it, yeah, because the whole time Raoden thinks that Karada's out there to kill his father,
yes,
King Iadon.
Yes.
And he's like, okay, haha. Well, he gets to, I don't know what happens. I think he just like waits in anticipation. It's like, oh my god, Karada's gonna kill my dad. Oh my god, oh my god.
Yeah, and then she just goes
past. She's like, because they go into his chambers and they just sneak out the front door.
Yep, exactly.
And then Raoden just left there agog, like, well, oh, this wasn't the plan. So then we get revealed that Karada wanted to get back into the palace to give her daughter a message that
and
she's
a
alive
necklace.
And well, and a necklace.
Yeah.
And then they stumble into her husband, or her ex-husband,
I mean, it's still her husband, I guess.
His little husband.
Because like what,
really divorce, I guess.
Raoden and Serene are still married technically.
By contract, yes.
Yes.
And we don't really know the rules of marital arrangements in Arelon. I don't think Sanderson knows either. I mean,
he might.
Sanderson at us, maybe. Not that we want to know. But we'll say they run into her husband, but her husband doesn't recognize her, and it hurts Karada.
Yeah, for sure. Because they're so transformed.
Subdue him. Yeah. Or is it Raoden subdues him? He scares him because he draws an Aeon sign in front of him.
Yes, he draws the Aeon.
Like, if you move, you will die.
Yes. So the Aeon is Sheo. Sheo, Sheo, and it is the Aeon that translates to death. So it's like it's supposed to be an attack thing, but obviously it can't do anything.
Right? It like lingers in place and disappears, and then the guard has to like stay still for the X amount of time that Raoden told him to while they book it out of there.
Yes.
And they succeed. Oh, they go right up to the gates, right? Because
so to get back in, yes.
To get back in. Because I think, if I remember correctly, the rationale for doing so is that they don't reveal the passage they came in through.
Yes, and also the guards won't hurt them because they'll get in trouble. Like, they could raise a stink and be like, we're Elantrians, we're out of the place. Or you can let us in and we won't say anything. So the guards will just open the gate and they just stroll in, which was kind of cool.
I think that's what happens, where it's the Raoden tricks them or embarrasses them by saying, oh, you'll let us out? Not doing your job. Better let us back in.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. This is also where Karada, she kind of reveals that she knows who Raoden actually is, but she's not going to reveal that. And I think this is also where she's like, okay, we're gonna band together here. My followers are your followers, because this is also where Raoden reveals his plan about planting the corn with the seeds and he wants Elantris to become self-sufficient. I don't think Hrathen really buys it, but she's obviously impressed by what he was able to accomplish, and she now knows who he is, so she agrees to become a follower of Raoden and join his
Mm.
group.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it for. Oh no, there's one more. Yes. Okay. Hrathen takes Raoden to. I think her hideout is the palace,
Mm-hmm.
and we find out that children do get affected by the Sheod,
Yep.
and she's looking after all of them.
Yes.
So we're learning now that these gang leaders probably have a little bit more to them than just they want power.
Yep.
They're doing something. Like the reason she was stealing the food, I believe, was to help care for these children.
Mm-hmm. I think
Yeah.
it's revealed too because a lot of her followers, the able-bodied adults, I would say, take a small ration and the rest go to the children.
Yes.
And it was a bit heartbreaking to hear that sometimes these kids will lose their minds, and
Oh
so
yeah.
they whisk them away to a separate room within the
Hmm.
palace,
Yeah.
and they tend to them whenever they can.
Yeah.
So
There's a name
yeah.
for it. I can't remember what they call them now. But yeah, you're right. There is.
I don't recall either.
Yeah. And
Was there a name for them?
there is. They have a name for them once they've gone mad. And then the last part is Raoden returning to the chapel. He did steal a sword from the palace, so he gives it to
Yeah, that's
Saolin,
right.
the guard, and he also tells Galadon of the plan for
Mm.
the alliance with Karada's gang.
Mm-hmm.
So, chapter 14 is a Serene chapter, which one thing I would note is I watched I think it was a weekly update from Brandon Sanderson, and pronounced it Serene.
Called it.
But
Hell yeah! Back to chapter one,
his
episode one.
website says Serene.
Oh my
So
gosh,
we
we've
can
been
just,
saying it wrong this whole time,
I
and I
mean, not
and
according to
I
the website's pronunciation guide.
I believe the author is right, and
Yeah,
I stand
I
with
would
him.
think so too. Yeah. So yeah, this is Serene. So they're just, what are they doing? They're doing embroidery. Her, the queen, and a few
And the
other
rest of the ladies of the court.
yes, yeah,
Yeah.
court ladies. And they talk about fencing. So in Teod, where Serene is from, they would learn fencing. Females would learn fencing. And I think this is where she offers to teach the women of the group fencing.
Mm.
Like, I don't really remember why, if it's more just like to sort of spit in the king's face, or if there's another reason. Do you remember?
I think what happens is that Serene wants to join this embroidery group so that she can get the deets on their husbands and what
Hmm.
they're up to, so
Hmm.
that when Serene, uh, gosh darn it, gotta break that mold.
Yeah.
Can I just say Serena? Would that be easier?
You can say whatever you want. There is no pronunciation, I don't think.
No more rules, all anarchy.
Yeah.
That's what I live for. There ain't rules for everybody. There is no rules at all.
Yeah.
And Serena's a bit of a Sailor Moon reference. There you go.
There you go.
There you
Nice.
go.
Nice.
Nice. What we're talking about? Yes.
The
So the whole
fencing.
plan, yeah. So the fencing topic just came up because there were some of the ladies in the court that were getting bored of it. And one in particular, her name. See, this is what happens when we read too much and we have to like skim off the top.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have this quality podcast content if you forced us to do this, listeners. I blame it on
We
you.
forced us.
No.
Yeah.
Anyway, so and then I think Serena just talks about her upbringing and what they
Yes.
did instead of embroidery, and
Hmm.
then it gets everyone interested. At first, there's like the older ladies of the court are against it because it's unwomanly to Arelon standards,
Yeah,
but the
it's
younger
not
ones
something that
are
women would do.
yeah, they're very keen on it. Like, ooh, that's really cool. We want to do this
Hmm.
because I think what Serena reveals or talks about is that it gives women a lot of independence and a defense against threats.
Right.
And I think it means against men who would want to force advantages on them.
Possibly. Yeah.
At least that's my understanding behind
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
scenes a bit. And it also, and I think Serena just wants to, I think it just becomes, I think Serena just realizes that they're all interested in the end and she's got nothing better to do. And if this is a way to get as much information from these ladies about their husbands as possible, then why not make it as easier for her than
Hmm.
having to teach them what she enjoys? And
Yeah.
if I recall, she loves fencing.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, it's
Mm.
something I think that she's been practicing since she was a kid, and she's pretty good at it.
Yep. Yeah.
So yeah, the ladies do agree that they will have a fencing session, and that does happen later in the next few chapters.
Hmm.
After this, there is a quick little discussion that she has with Ash. She sent Ash to Elantris and to the dungeons of the palace to see about
Troll in the
if
dungeon.
if
Sorry.
Raoden is potentially alive somewhere.
Yeah, that's right. She still
And
thinks that he was murdered or
yeah,
removed because he was a threat to the king.
exactly. Yeah,
Mm.
but Ash doesn't have anything really to report.
Mm.
And the next, the bulk of this chapter is the
The
ball.
ball.
The ball at Duke
Ooh.
Telry's residence, a very lavish ball, and we find out that there's a reason. I don't know if it's in this chapter, but definitely in later chapters, why it's so lavish.
Mm. They all
Um,
question why it's lavish, even the
they
king.
do, yes. The
Yeah.
king is there, and there's
Ooh, good
also
little. Oh, go ahead.
Rothen is there.
Yeah, he's
Um,
strutting around like a big old rooster in his
mhm.
flock of chickens.
Yep. And Serene is also she goes with Shuden,
Mm.
who is the younger one of the younger dukes, the guy who is Jindoese, I believe.
Yes,
And he's
that's
also
correct.
single, and so all the ladies want him.
He is
Uh,
quite the bachelor.
that comes up again in the fencing chapter.
Hmm.
He does talk a little bit about the what is it, the history of the
Hmm.
religions of the realm. Excuse me, and just like how that became complicated over time. There is, I think, a point where someone delivers a message to the king. Bad news, obviously. Serene
Mm.
can't hear exactly what it is, but he's very upset. And we do find out later on what this is. But
Mm.
yeah, something is has pissed
Something's
off the king.
yeah. You
Yeah.
would hate to see what happened
Oh boy.
because related to the ocean. Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, the ball happens and Serene wants to use Shuden as an example to be escorted around, like to be introduced to everybody, so
Hmm.
she can get a understanding of who's involved and who's at play, um, and what's going on in Arelon. And particularly, she's on the hunt to find out what Hrathen is up to,
Yeah.
because her main goal right now is to stop what he's been trying to do, which is converting everyone. Which is why the topic of the religions came up to
Mm.
understand
Hmm.
why there's such a stark contrast of it, at least in Arelon. And it's revealed by Shuden that Arelon doesn't really care about whose religion is occurring or being practiced, I guess. It's just a matter of other forces, like in this case, the Fjordan Empire, who would need it to justify their invasion. I think that's
Right.
probably what's going to be happening.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
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 We do get a bit of. Oh,
Go
go
ahead.
ahead.
No, no, that's okay. Go ahead.
So polite, us Canadians.
I know, right?
um. Oh shoot! Now I forgot. Oh damn it.
Okay,
Okay, no,
well,
no,
you
no.
lost your
It's coming
chance.
back. All right, I'm off
No,
the train.
that's fine. We got to get through these chapters quickly. We're taking too long. So yeah, that's the ball is the bulk of this
Mm,
chapter, and then at the very end, Serene does go back to the palace, and she learns about the intrusion into the king's chambers.
yeah.
So more of these characters just kind of, glancing past each other, but not actually running into each other yet.
Mm.
Chapter
Ships in the
15.
night that Iadon is not going to see anymore.
Oh my god.
Mm,
Uh, Chapter 15 is a Rothen chapter. He is
mm,
strolling along the wall to Elantris, which he likes to do. And I think he's kind of thinking about, like, this is where we kind of learn a little bit that he's not a villain. He doesn't want there
mhm.
to be a lot of bloodshed. He wants this to happen quickly, and he reflects on what happened in Duladel, and apparently that was like a massacre and went very poorly. So he
Went
wants to
terribly.
do
Yeah.
this better. Yeah. So he's meeting with, or he's up on the walls of Elantris for a reason. He's meeting with Duke Telry there,
Yeah.
who is having some second thoughts on the deal that he made. From
Hmm.
what I remember, Hrathen just kind of, uh, soothes him, and he doesn't actually pull out. Do we get more details on what the deal is in this chapter? I'm not
The
entirely sure.
the deal was that Tellery would be made king,
Yes, that is the bulk of the deal. Absolutely.
but
And
I don't think that was revealed until this chapter, where
mm,
and and that's the problem is that Hrathen is making a promise he can't keep because he hasn't told Emperor Wern that this is what's going to happen.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
so we said the lavish ball previously. So
Yes.
it is Tellery's residence, and the reason it's so lavish is that he's gotten some funds from the Fjorden Empire,
Mm-hmm.
and to showcase to the rest of the barons and the king himself that Lord Tellery is doing very well.
Yep.
And because the system of governance is based on profit and wealth, it's making the king very nervous, especially when he got the news, which will be revealed, of why he's going to lose a lot of money.
Yes, and the
Yep.
system that Iadon set up, it's all
Mm,
based on how much money you make. So even the king could potentially lose his title if he
which
doesn't
is
have enough money.
wild.
And we learned that the bad news that he got was from the Fjorden Empire was the one that made it happen. So they're weakening the
Hmm.
king, they're strengthening Telri, leading to probably some sort of coup or something that will happen, which will unseat the current king and see a new
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
And the plan is to have King Tellery reinstate. Is it reinstate? No, instate the Shu Karethi religion, which is the one that the Fjordan
I think
Empire
it's
follows.
Shudareth is the empire.
Is it Dareth?
Yeah, I think
Oh, it's Dareth.
Karathi is the other one. Anyways, yeah.
Oops.
Yes, they want
We've been reading
to.
this book for how long? Oops.
They want to. Yeah, get that. Basically, it's a way for them to take
Mm,
over without the bloodshed. Um.
Hrathen's way.
Yes,
The
Rothan's
Empire is going
way.
to storm in no matter what.
Yeah,
And the sooner that he gets people converted, the easier it is for them to accept their new rulers.
exactly.
Yeah.
At the end of this chapter, also we learn that, or Rothan learns that about the Elantrians that escaped and bribed the guards to get
Yeah.
back in, and then he bribes the guards to say, "Next time there's a Elantrian escapee, bring them to me."
Hmm.
And that escapee has a very sad fate in later
Every
chapters.
time it's a horrible fate. It's an awful one.
Yeah,
But every time Hrathen does something, I keep reminding of like Darth Vader. I think
yeah.
I bring them to me.
I have altered
He
the
just
terms
turns
of the
and walks
deal.
away.
Pray I don't alter them further.
Pay heed that I do not alter them further.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, chapter 16 is a Raoden chapter.
Yep.
So this one starts off a little sad because he's thinking about his friend Ian, the
Yeah.
Sion, who is now kind of like it hovers around him, but it obviously doesn't have any intelligence anymore and just like bumps into walls and stuff.
It's like
Super
a
sad.
goldfish in a bowl,
Yeah, almost.
sadly.
Yeah, for sure.
Ooh.
Yeah. Um, Raoden does talk a bit about his the girl that he was engaged with. He tells Galadon of it, and
Mm.
he also mentions the fall of the Duladel Republic,
Uradel,
which Galadon does not know about.
which
Uh,
is
Go
a
ahead.
plot twist
Yeah.
because allegedly Galadon was supposed to be there very recent, like
Yes.
months before Raoden showed
But the
up.
fall of the Duladel Republic was at least 6 months ago.
At least
Yeah.
6.
So Galadon does mourn a bit because his religion, the Jesker religion, is now
Mm.
gone. So yeah, it's sad. There's definitely more going on with Galadon, as we all know. We're just
Mhm.
waiting to see how this is going to play out.
What's the reveal? What's behind the curtain, Sanderson?
Exactly.
Who
Yeah.
is this?
Who is he? Um, so they do go back to the chapel because they were talking in Galadon's library or his
Mm.
hut or whatever it is that he's in,
Mm.
and they're all really impressed with how clean the chapel is. And Kahar has been working like crazy. And this is when we get the reveal and when he tells us that he forgot about the hunger because he
And
was
that's what
keeping
the
busy and he
cure
was
was.
cleaning. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the cure. Yeah. Um, Raoden and Galadon talk a bit about, the group and the plans. I think this is when
Hmm.
Raoden reveals to Galadon the plan about the corn. I'm not
It
entirely
is.
sure if I remember, but if that correctly, but he does reveal it to Galadon at some point.
I think this is where he does because Galadon mentions he was a farmer before being a Lantrian.
Yes.
And so
Yes, that's
Raoden
right.
asks for his help. Say, hey,
Yes.
I want to plant these. How good are you with this? Like, do you think these seeds are great to be planted? And
Yes.
Galadon, to his credit, apparently is a farmer. And I called it in episode 2 or
Okay.
3. No, it was the last episode because I said,
Or
"Oh, reveal surprised to see that Galon's gonna be a farmer. I'm a simple man, blah blah blah." And then it turns out he's a farmer, allegedly. So
allegedly, yeah, we don't actually know
allegedly,
what he is or what he
yeah,
knows.
doubt everything he
Um,
says, but
so
he
the end,
knows his stuff about cultivation because
yes,
he
and I
talks about
think,
rotating crops.
yeah, I think he doesn't believe that it'll work as well, like
That's the
from
thing.
his experience. Yeah, he's like, this is not a great plan. But
Yeah,
I think he
is
does agree to
he?
help, though, doesn't he?
He does agree to help, but he
Yeah.
has doubts. He says,
Yes.
I think the first thing he says is like a lot of these people become insane before like the seasons for these crops to fully grow and to be like give people food.
Hmm.
And then Raiden responds, "It doesn't matter. It's just the process and the hope to have this crop grow that will keep everybody together. So
Right.
eventually it would be fine."
Yes.
But then I think Gallon mentions that there's still other gangs to contend with, and if they find out about their plan, they're going to start invading or making attacks and stuff like
Hmm.
that, or try to destroy the crops.
Hmm.
So they need more defense countermeasures. And then
Yep.
that's when Raiden reveals that he's going to talk to the next gang leader.
Yeah. So I don't recall exactly how this goes down. I think, is he going to talk to Andin?
He...
But so essentially what happens is there's the confrontation, right? Some of
Mm,
Karada's followers, led by this guy named Dash, get word that Andin and his group are going to attack the place where the children are kept.
mm,
For what reason, I can't recall, but this leads to Karada saying, like, no, you can't do this. Dash is very headstrong. He's like the soldier, the first sword or whatever of Karada. So he goes off on his own. He's like, no, we're gonna go deal with this now. We're gonna
mm,
go fight these dudes. And Raoden, he shows up when this confrontation is happening between Karada and Dash,
mm.
and he's like, okay, I'm going with you guys. I'm going to try and convince them to stand down, essentially.
Yeah.
uh, and he does, though I don't think I really liked this one as much. This
It was
sort
very
of,
shoehorned. It was
it
like
felt like it, didn't
what
it?
a plot convenience a little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. So we know that that Andin, the one of the leaders of the other opposing gangs, used to be a
Mm,
sculptor named Ton.
mm.
And Raoden, if I remember correctly, he like cleans off or dusts off a piece of the floor to show like the workmanship.
So
For
everyone's like standing in this room. They all get
yeah,
taken into Aiden because they get confronted outside of the library. They
yeah,
get, bring him in with like all Aiden's armed guards, and then Aiden shows up. No, it's in his Aiden's throne room or something like that, quote
something
unquote
like
throne
that.
room, his wherever he's sitting. Um, and Aiden wants to kill everybody right away, but Raiden says, "Oh, quick, take a look at this." And he spends however long just scrubbing the floor with his sleeve or something.
Yeah,
Look how beautiful this is. And then he reveals to everybody that Aoden isn't actually a baron; he's the
yeah.
sculptor.
And then he's
So he's
like, he's so absorbed by how beautiful the floor is that he just forgets
and he's like,
everything.
"Oh, my
Yeah,
name is actually not. I'm a fake. Oh no, I've
yeah,
played a ruse." And then all of his followers question him once, and then they, they just accept it,
yeah.
which is a little too easy,
It was.
if you ask me.
Yeah, it was.
So
I wasn't the biggest fan of this part. I mean,
no, me
it's,
neither.
it's I liked that it's all wrapped up now and we can move
Mm.
on and can, like,
There's one more gang.
there's still one more gang, but yeah. But yeah, it was, I felt it was kind of a weird way to wrap it up, but hey,
Mm.
you got it done. Raoden got
Hooray!
that genius mind of his.
That plot armor
Yeah,
or plot not
plot
armor, I guess. Convincer,
plot
plot magic.
plot
He's got plot.
he's got lots of plot.
Let's
Okay,
continue.
chapter 17 is a Serene chapter. This is the one where they do the fencing.
Yes. It's
So
actually really cool.
yeah, it is cool. So she's having a tough time teaching the
Of
ladies how
course.
to fence.
They've never fenced
The
before.
two stupid kids come again, and the one
Ugh.
girl talks about how she would have taught them better, as she does, because she's really
A
annoying.
little stinker. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Lord Andel is there, the one who has the private army. And
Mm,
I don't know who challenges who, but he ends up dueling Serene.
he does.
And at first Serene is like completely overwhelmed, like holy shit, this guy's really good. They kind of even it out a bit, but Andel is the one who kind of lets her win
Mm-hmm.
because he didn't want to um, embarrass her since she's the one teaching these
Mm-hmm.
ladies how to fence. And then
Serena notices that though,
yes, she
and
does. Yeah.
talks to him after. It's like, I appreciate it, but don't have to do that.
Yep. And then this is when Lord Shuden takes off his shirt and starts doing Tai
Uh-huh.
Chi in the
He's
middle of
rubbing
the
himself with some oil there in front of the ladies, just
yep.
basking in the sunlight.
Yeah,
He's like,
making sure
don't
the
mind my stretching, bends over.
yeah,
Oh my God.
making
I
sure
think
the
he did
light
it on
casts some
purpose.
nice
Oh my
shadows.
goodness. I don't know what's up with Shuden's deal there. He's like afraid of uh, being tied up with someone, but at the same time is not conscious enough that he's just being very flirtatious.
Mm, yeah,
Is he aware that he's doing it? It feels to me like he's just doing it because it feels that it's normal to do so. Like even
possibly.
if in his own home, he could just like, oh, check out my shirt, no one's gonna be bothered. But he's not cluing that in. And for someone who is as wise and smart as Shuden is, but he is very young, he might just be too naive. I don't know.
Possibly. I think he's really smart, so I think he knows what he's doing. But who knows if we'll ever
Mm.
really get the the insight into his mind. But yeah, that was an odd thing.
As a non-interaction, yeah.
Yeah. So Serene, after this is done, she goes to Karathi Chapel and speaks with Father Omen about the widow
Hmm.
trials. And this is where she talks about how she wants to go to Elantris. And I think they talk about Hrathen a little bit. Father Omen doesn't think that he's as much of a threat as Serene does. Nobody
Yeah,
seems to think that Hrathen
that's
is as
another
much of a
weird
threat as
thing.
Serene does.
I'm kind of weirded out by this as well. Is that somehow Serena is the only one that doesn't
Hmm.
think Hrathen is a threat, or sorry,
Does.
Serena thinks that Hrathen is a threat. No one
Yeah.
else seems to be bothered or care at it at
Yeah.
all. They're just like, it's just another loony bin priest coming in and doing their spew stuff or whatever. Don't care. But somehow, when Serena meets up with the the barons that want to overthrow Iadon, they all say that he's bad news, but they're just not going to do anything about it
Hmm.
because
Yeah. No, they
Aiden,
don't.
yeah, what's it? Aondel, sorry, the baron who
Hmm.
has the private army,
Yes.
uh, says that this is the same high priest that caused the rebellion to happen in the Duladel Republic. I should say it's not
That's
Empire,
true. Yeah.
but no one seems to be bothered by that information. Only Serena does.
Yeah.
She's like,
It's
that's a
odd.
problem. Everyone's like, I'm gonna lose my title.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Let's
Where's
talk
my
about that.
money? I
Where
need
my
more
money?
money.
Give me more money.
Yeah.
Good
Um,
lord.
so the
Yeah.
last part about this little discussion in the chapel is that Serene learns that she is rich. She inherited all of Raoden's estates. She didn't realize this. No one told her.
$50 million. No, wait,
Yeah,
probably more than that.
probably.
Oh
But
man,
yeah,
well, yeah, it is probably
she's
way
wealthy,
more.
and she didn't know that. So she'll probably use that money for something in the later
Hmm.
chapters.
I'm assuming it'll come to good use.
Oh, I think so.
Probably to rebuild Elantris, I bet.
Yep.
Calling it now.
So the last part of the chapter is first Ash again talking with Serene about Hrathen's sort of frequent patrols of the Elantrian wall. So
Mm-hmm.
something that she's sort of confirming her fears that he wants to do something with Elantris. And then also Serene has a conversation with her father, Evanteo, about all of the things. And this is where we learn that a couple things. If Arelon falls,
Mm-hmm.
Evanteo will surrender to the Fjordan Empire. He's not going to risk fighting them. He's not going to, shed his blood. He's the steward of this place. Like he's a very good king. He's
Mm-hmm.
a steward of Teod, so he's going to do what's in the best interest of the people, which is give in. Which
Yeah.
Serene obviously doesn't like, but I thought was really level-headed and smart from that.
It's really good to see uh, someone other than King Iadon actually feel compassion for his people.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
wait, that's weird. That's a weird way of saying it. No, someone who does feel compassion for his people in comparison to Iadon, who does not.
Yes,
Iadon, who
Iadon.
does not at all. He's
Hmm.
just very much interested in his own money,
Yes,
his
absolutely.
own profit margin.
Hmm.
Anyhow, but it is good to see like a fresh take on it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And this is also where we learn
I was gonna say. Yeah.
where the ships are sunk, or who sunk the ships
Who done do
at
it?
the behest of Wern, to
Ooh.
loosen Iadon's grip on the throne. So
Mhm.
these are the pieces of the puzzle that we were talking about before. They weaken the king. He's under threat of losing his title, and they boost Telri, give him more funds. I think they also give him some sort of contract of trading with the Empire.
They do, yeah,
Yeah,
where his ships are allowed to pass through the current
something like
blockade.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, just trying to again shift that power.
This
Um,
is this is also when it's revealed, or Serena reveal or understands that that's the note that was passed, or the message that was conveyed to the king at
yes,
the
at the
ball.
party. Yep.
Yeah, and
And then
yeah.
the chapter ends with her having a hard time falling asleep and hearing some odd noises
Ooh,
coming
secret
from.
passages.
Yeah, I think that's the
Wah,
king
wah.
traveling through the secret passages.
Is it a king or is it another Elantrian?
Yeah, it could be.
Mm.
Chapter 18, Hrathen. This is when we meet this poor Elantrian
Oh my
named
gosh.
Diren, who is
Yeah.
sitting in his office. Hrathen's a little shocked by how lucid he is. He talks like a normal person. He's just really hungry.
Hmm.
So he gets a little bit of information of Elantris out of him, but this guy can't really. He doesn't really have much information that Hrathen needs or wants.
Or
But
knows
Delof,
already.
yeah, Delof comes into the office and
What?
starts to lose
Dilaf.
it. He's
He's loses his mind.
yeah, he's very taken aback by an Elantrian being there. And Hrathen almost has to do something like intervene physically to
Mm.
get him to stop, or to get him to just stop giving this guy a death stare, or stab
Yeah.
him out of nowhere or something.
Dilaf was like growling the whole time or something
Yeah,
like that, like a
yeah,
dog. It's
yeah.
just, what is this guy's just
Which is kind of
mental.
crazy when you he didn't hate Elantrians. Rothan told him to hate Elantrians, and now he's just completely gone.
He's a rabid, yeah, not a rabbit, a rabid dog. I
Close.
thought, no, wait. I thought he hated the Launchets to begin with, and Hrathen
Did
just gave him
he?
the permission to
Okay.
make it
If
okay to
that's the
do
case,
so.
that makes more sense.
Yeah,
I can't really
that's
recall, but yeah, you might be right.
I think that's what happens because they were talking about Elantris, and the Dilaf's like, "Oh, those devils! Oh, the worst thing
Right.
has ever happened, right? They should be destroyed." And Hrathen, that's when Hrathen's like, "Actually, we could
Right.
turn
Because,
that into, our way to converting everybody, to make
yeah.
them the target, or make everybody realize that it's their fault that Arelon is in such a state of decay,
Yes.
for
Because
lack of
they're,
better terms."
there's not zealots, but I can't remember the word,
Mhm.
but it's just they thought themselves gods, and there is only one god in his
Oh,
mind. So that's why he doesn't like them, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Dilaf is a zealot. He's a
Yes.
he's
Yeah.
a
Delof's a
extreme
zealot. Yes.
believer in Jadith and the
So
Durethi religion, if I
yes,
recall
exactly.
correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. Yep. So speaking of
Yay! I
zealousy,
learned.
we get to Delof's little
Mhm.
sermon that he
Ooh, can I
gives.
can I add something? Can I
Yeah,
add
yeah.
something? So Rothan was surprised, like you said, by how lucid Darren is, the Elantrian,
Mhm.
but because he was expecting an actual animal. He
Yes.
wasn't expecting someone to actually converse with him.
Hmm.
And then he sees in the Elantrian that they've been victimized.
Hmm.
They're not devils. They didn't cause anything to happen. They just were a result of a mishap, some sort of magical disease in a
Hmm.
way. So that's like the more I read through this, Hrathen and Serene are my favorite characters because they're showing a different side to them, that they're learning about the world. Whereas Raoden is still one dimensional. He's still a nice guy, and he's just doing the same thing over and over again. And it's kind of boring for me.
Right. Yeah,
My
that's
hot take.
fair. Yeah, no,
My
that's
hot
totally
take.
fair. Yeah. I mean, the Rothan chapters are pretty interesting.
They are very cool.
Yeah.
But speaking of Hrathen chapters, murder.
So yeah, Delof is giving his speech, and he reveals that he took custody of Diren. He kidnapped him,
Yeah.
and he's on a I don't know what he's tied
Oh,
up on a
right.
pole or something.
Yeah,
But he's
they.
also been tortured,
Yes.
and
So.
the pain has driven him insane. So he's not
Mhm.
the same person that we met at the beginning of the chapter where he was lucid. He's now, because of the pain and because it not ending, he's essentially lost his mind.
Mhm.
And he's just like, he's just screaming, incoherent, that kind of stuff. And this drives the crowd into an even more murderous frenzy. Like they want to kill this king.
Yeah.
Hrathen manages to interject and sort of redirects the mob and just like stops it from happening. But
He had to
it's a
kill
close
Diren
call.
though.
He does afterwards, yes. So after the sermon, Diren is brought to him again. He's completely insane. He's screaming. He can't do anything, so they burn him alive.
Yeah.
Um, which is a pretty sad and somber end for this character that we just met. But yeah,
It's
it's
nuts because Hrathen is just looking like he lights him a flame, I guess. It burns him
mhm,
alive, but he's
mhm.
like staring into the fire. He's like, this is not how I planned it. What happened? I don't understand. And he's
Yeah.
like, all of his like focus is going toward Dilaf then, because the plan was to bring Diren to the sermon, Hrathen's plan, and to show the crowd, his pastor, that this Elantrian is the cause of all their problems. But the
Mhm.
plan wasn't to murder or torture this thing and to make it like a whip to put them all into a frenzy.
Yeah.
Because Hrathen is very logical, that we said that before, but Dilaf is very emotional when it comes
Mhm.
to controlling people.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when Hrathen, what was it? No. Oh, maybe the events in my mind are confused or have been muddled up. But I thought that Hrathen did bring Diren in front of everyone to tell them that this is the thing you should dislike and it's the cause of all your problems. And then they took him away. And Hrathen explicitly told the guard at the Elantrian gate to send him back with some food because he
Yeah,
kept his promise.
that's a good
Hrathen kept
question.
his promise.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he
Dilaf intercepted
I'm not sure if
after.
Rothen brings him in front of the crowd, but you're right about um him telling the guard like take him back
Hmm.
and here's some bread or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a little fuzzy on whether or not Rothen introduced him to the crowd or if it was just Dilaf.
Okay.
But
But well,
yeah,
Dilaf brings him back, of course,
yes.
because Dilaf has other plans,
Hmm.
which was revealed that he, yeah,
Yeah.
did all the
And
torture stuff.
Rothen does berate Dilaf a bit
Mm,
about him, you know.
more than just berate, I feel like.
Yeah, for
Really,
sure.
really throws him off. He's like very mad at him.
Of course, yeah. But
Yeah.
I don't think the message was received on Dilaf's end.
Oh no, he got even
No.
more upset the fact
Yeah.
that Hrathen is not seeing what Dilaf is seeing.
He's essentially
Right.
showing weakness in Dilaf's eyes, right? Like
A little
Hrathen is
bit.
showing weakness,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this chapter does end with us meeting a new character named Fortin, who is
Hmm.
a apothecary.
Yep.
He's tasked with creating a special elixir
Hmm.
for him, and he wants it delivered to Arelon as quickly as possible.
Mm.
Does he say what it is? I don't think he
He
does.
does not.
No, so it's a mystery potion.
But he
So we'll see.
does, like, they do talk about how long it would be take to make,
Yes, yeah.
and the
It's not
decision on
quick.
Hrathen, it's not quick. So we're not sure what it is, but Hrathen is really deliberating the timeline of it arriving and the things he
Hmm.
needs to do to get things moving. It's also revealed a bit of Fortin's background, where the country he's from, is like very much, it's part of the Fortin Empire, but it's not really overseen or
Yeah,
regulated that well
it's called
because
it's called Ravel.
travel,
Yeah.
because its population, if I recall correctly, accepted the Rathi religion pretty easily, um, and it's like their main religion, but they
Yes.
don't, they're very helpful and they do all these things for the Fjordan Empire, and they
Yes.
get pretty much a relaxed leash because they also do practice another religion there, which I
Yeah.
believe, if I remember correctly, is the Mysteries, the one
Yeah,
that's the
just scary.
Duladel.
Yeah, the
Just
just
scary.
scary mysteries.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right. Yeah, that's a good point or an important point, I think.
Hmm.
Um and also Rothen does contact this guy by Seon, which he's not supposed to
Yes.
do. And he's also
Yeah,
not
that's the
supposed to
thing.
be like talking with this person at all because
Hmm.
he's like an underworld kind of guy.
But he's also, it's I think it's also revealed that Hrathen and Fortin have worked many times
They
before.
have,
This
yes.
is
Yeah,
not the
it's like
first
his
time.
dirty little secret.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Like a little black market merchant.
exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, interesting. It says Watto. Anyways.
Stop, Watto! Don't stoop him that low. My poor.
um
I don't like Watto. Watto's terrible.
Chapter
Watto's
19.
awful.
It's a Raoden chapter.
Uh,
Um, so this is a little bit of a flashback in the beginning where he's
mhm.
getting taken to Elantris as a child because his leg is broken. I think like the bone is sticking out of the leg and everything.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and he meets an Elantrian, and the Elantrian draws the Aeon, and it heals him. I think he falls unconscious when he sees it,
Mm,
and then he wakes up, and he's like in a lot of pain, but he's completely healed. So there's
mhm.
like we're getting a little bit of insight because the Sheo, like the pain doesn't go away and it doesn't heal. So this one, like you get healed, but you still feel the pain.
But
Uh,
it's
s-
temporarily.
it's
Like, it's
temporary. It
as
goes
you I guess, like,
away.
a side effect.
But
Yeah.
like even if from my understanding, the leg looks like it's completely healed, but he's still feeling pain, and the pain goes away later.
Yes, I think
Or it could be that
ah,
he's feeling pain
mm,
as it's healing because it happens over a process of 3 weeks. So like I think over 3 weeks, like you know, the bone gets put back, and then the wound
mm,
starts to heal up, and it's just like it's healing, an accelerated healing.
mm.
Again, not entirely sure, but yeah, this Raoden did have this done to him as a child.
The interesting thing about that uh, uh, flashback. Oh my god. The interesting thing is that it was his dad and mother that brought him to the Elantria and Elantris to
Yes.
get it as
Hmm.
it's the last measure or the last countermeasure. No, it was the very last thing that they needed to do,
And they're
and it was
both
like a
very uncomfortable.
necessary. Yeah, yeah. Especially King Iadon.
Yeah.
He did not want to go, but his wife made him do it because it's their
Hmm.
kid, and he obliged. And
Yes.
so when in the dream when Raoden woke up and was healed, he found his both his parents like crying over him and thanking the Elantrian, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So I want to know more why Idon doesn't like Elantris. Like there
Hmm.
must have been some sort of grudge beforehand, but yet he's very thankful for it. I mean, of course
Yeah.
it's his son, but it sounded like he was allowed to enter the city,
Oh
and
yeah.
this is like before the shroud happened. So I don't know. I want to know what's his dealio.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
also about this mother that we don't know,
Hmm.
Raoden's mother that we haven't met yet.
Who died 10 years ago at the
Yes.
time of the Shayad happening.
Exactly. Yeah, it could have
Ooh,
been
connection, maybe. Ooh,
possible.
possible.
So yeah, after the dream, Sheor, the last band leader, the last gang leader, his men launch an attack
Yep.
on the chapel. Saolin, the soldier, takes a
Mm.
wound, which Raoden is very concerned about, but Saolin is just not at all. He calls it a badge of honor, if I remember correctly. So they
Yeah,
they
yeah.
do manage to rebuff this attack, and that's when he takes the wound. So I think that's really all we get. Like we don't know the motivation for the attack. We don't really know much about Sheor yet, really at all.
Mhm.
So he remains a mystery. Um, what's
Is this the attack on the temple, or is
Yeah,
it a
on the
new place?
church.
On the church. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, Raoden goes to this Hall of the Fallen, which is like a
Mm.
kind of like a hospice place, and this is what these people are called, the Hoed or something, Hoed. That's what they're called when they go insane and they're just like completely
Oh,
lost.
I don't think it's just the kids. It's just every Elantrian that goes insane is
Yes,
Hoed.
are Hoed. Yeah.
They got Hoed.
Oh boy.
Okay,
Oh
I'll
boy.
drop that
Don't
one.
try it. Also, Tan,
The
the
sculptor,
sculptor, is
previous
just like
gang leader.
does not care about the gang anymore, and he just spends
It's
all of his
so
time.
dumb. I
Yeah.
hate this guy. He sucks.
Just spends all of his time
Ugh.
studying the sculptures and
Oh my god.
the the stone work.
Watch him going into different places in Elantris and uncovering new secrets. I bet you that's what's going to happen.
Yeah,
He's
possibly.
going to
I
like
mean, he
come
might
rushing
like
back and say,
uncover a
"Oh,
secret passage or something.
that's what." Well, that's what I'm saying. If everything is covered up in grime and people, that's the other dumb thing that I don't like. People just realize they could just like remove stuff from walls and it's stuff there. Whoa, big
Mm,
shocker. But then
yeah,
again, people are crazy and in despair when they enter Elantris. So maybe maybe surviving and cleaning up isn't a priority.
yeah,
Which Raoden is the only person who seems to be doing that for the last 10 years, which I don't buy.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Um, who knows? Maybe others have tried and lost hope. That's the other
Yeah.
thing.
So
But
Raoden
Tan
is. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
sucks
Did you have what?
so
Sorry.
much. No, I
Oh.
it just this is a Tan hate club right now.
Fair
We
enough.
all
We
have
had to find
Tan
someone
here.
we didn't like.
There you go.
Yeah, that's him.
Deal off
Uh,
and now Tan.
yeah. So Raoden is still studying that book about
Mm,
Aeon Door, and this is Galadin explains a bit about the door part for Aeon Door, and
mm.
essentially it's the Force. He talks about
I
how it's like
know.
this thing
It's
that
just
just
the Force.
exists. It is,
Oh my
uh,
god.
and it's
Jesker starts the J. It's J
right.
religion. Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
god,
Sanderson invented Star Wars before Lucas
this is
did.
way after Star Wars.
I
Um, so
can't
yeah,
believe George Lucas Brandon Sanderson. Ugh.
Door, which is the Force, is a central concept of his religion, the Jesker religion.
Mm,
And using this information, Raoden is able to sort of discern that something about Door is still working because the Elantrians are still alive
mm-hmm.
without having to consume any food. That is the energy that is keeping them alive. So the fact that it's still working gives him hope that they could potentially fix Aeon Door and that they could get their magic back. I don't think that would, you know, fix them or reverse the Sheod or turn it into something that it was
Yeah, I don't
before,
know.
but it would
Hmm.
at least fix the magic system.
Yeah. Who is it Raiden who then talks about why Arelon has this problem and not in any other continent?
Yeah, there's a geographic thing
Okay.
about it. There's a geographic component about
Mm,
Door and Arelon. They're connected in some way. So there's some what is it? A source of power probably
like a
near.
wellspring. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh.
Mhm. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
yeah. There's something like that around.
Shame it's a door because it could have been a jar.
Oh boy.
That
The puns are
Aeon
coming, so
jar.
it means we need to start to end this episode.
No.
Last chapter is chapter 20, which is a
Uh,
Serene chapter.
we missed something critical in
Oh,
this
did we?
with
Okay, yeah,
Galadon in
please.
chapter
Yeah,
19,
please go
and
back.
it's the fact that Galadon was talking about the system of governance in Dilladale and describing everything around it.
Oh, okay.
And well, it came about like talking about why is it that Arelon, Arelians, the people in
Airleans.
Arelon who are affected by the Sheo, but then some people from Dilladale would also be there because they had mixed blood.
Yeah.
And so Galadon uses a word that wouldn't be conveyed or said through a lower class like a farmer. And so that's where Raoden
Oh,
picks up that Galadon is still not revealing the truth. I think
interesting.
Galadon says bureaucracy or bureaucratic oath or something like that.
Uh-huh.
I don't exactly remember the right word, but it's something that Raoden like understood right away. But then he's like, wait, a farmer wouldn't know that. Like
Right.
even in a republic, they wouldn't be aware. They wouldn't have that kind of education.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
I don't remember the
interesting.
exact word. I mean, you can continue with chapter 20. I can try and find that word.
Yeah, I mean, the I get the point, and that is a very important point. So yeah, more mystery with Deloff.
No,
So
Galadon.
Galadon, sorry, yeah, Galadon, got them confused. So yeah, chapter
Mhm.
20 is a Serene chapter. She's again meeting with this group of dukes: Ahan, Royal, Aondel, Shuden, and Idan.
Mhm.
And she's trying to convince them that they need to keep Iadon financially afloat because now she knows what's happening. She knows that Telri has a lot of wealth. She knows that Iadon is going to lose a lot of wealth, and it could be responsible for the Fjorden invasion. So they discuss how they're going to do this. Eventually, Serene has an idea for a deal that she makes, which she does later in the chapter. She also asks the Dukes how the planting is going, and they
Mhm.
all, they all like, yeah, we're doing it. Uh, they, I don't think there are any results yet, but it's just that, you know, they're all doing it, and the results will come after the crops have been planted.
I think
And
Ahin is the one that's more vocal about the change.
yeah,
The larger, portly man.
yeah,
Yeah.
Ahan, yeah, he's definitely. Well, also like earlier in this chapter, we do meet his wife, who is also portly and loud, which is kind of funny. Um,
They make quite the pair. They
they
seem
do.
lovely to me. Come
Oh yeah.
on.
Um, And oh yeah, Serene also reveals that she's gonna what her widow's trial is going to be, and
Mm,
that she's going to be giving food to the Elantrians, and she actually requests that the nobles go with her. I think Shuden is the only one that agrees, but Royal, the oldest guy, also
mm,
kind of does say that he will support her as long as she gets
additional.
Iadon's permission to do it.
Yeah.
So this is when she goes to Iadon. She goes into her study and she feigns ignorance, simple mindedness, like she's always done, but she flips it.
When
And
she's inside in the
yes, when
king's
she's
office.
inside, yes. And she reveals how smart she actually is. And this
Mhm,
is when she presents the deal to Iadon to help keep him afloat, which is a trade agreement between Arelon and Teod, which only Iadon can fulfill. Like they make the
mhm.
deal with him, and for that deal to keep him in power and to keep his wealth, he will let Serene do her widow's trials in Elantris, and I think also I don't know if she mentions the dukes. I think she might just get permission for herself, but the dukes will
Uh,
come if she gets permission.
I think the only thing discussed, the trade that is she gets to do her widow trials in Elantris,
Yeah.
and in exchange for that, King Iadon gets exclusive rights of selling certain products to Teod at a cheaper price.
Yes.
So yeah, it's pretty funny because we do get a scene in the like right after the bargain is struck of Ash coming down, communicating with Evanteo, the king of Teod or King Evanteo,
Hmm.
and Iadon is like clearly trying to like make a better deal with King Evanteo, and King Evanteo just agrees with
Oh.
everything. And Serena is like, oh, wait, wait, whoa, whoa, whoa. And so in the end, King Iadon actually gets what he wants and a bit more. So he's
Oh,
very
interesting.
happy. Yeah, and King Evanteo is like, I don't see the problem. This seems fine to me. And
I
Serena's like,
mean,
oh
yeah,
no.
Iadon is obviously a good businessman. Like,
Hmm.
we don't like him. He's a terrible king, but
Yes.
he's always a good businessman. That's how he was able to get into power.
Hmm.
So yeah,
I just found that interaction really funny.
no, that is. I'm glad that you brought that up. So Serene's got her deal. She goes
Hmm.
to her room and it hasn't been cleaned. So she calls for
Yeah,
the maid and
it's a
asks what
weird
happened.
interaction.
It is,
Like,
yeah. This is going to
why?
be important later. I'm pretty sure that's my
Uh,
guess, but I don't know why. And she
oh,
explains that a maid has left.
yeah,
She's
that's
run
the thing.
away, and this is the
Hmm.
fourth one in like the last, I think, year to just leave.
Disappear.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you think it's because those maids get the Sheod and they just like whisk them away?
that could. Yeah, that
Mm.
is probably the most simple explanation. I think that's probably what it is. Instead of it being something that's going to play out later,
Be
they
maid
probably just got
related?
the
I
shade.
don't know. I don't think it's
Yeah,
maid related. That'd be such a
yeah.
what a twist. What a new addition.
It was the maids
Uh,
all along.
maid. You heard of the butlers doing it, but it's the maids this time.
Yep. So the last part of chapter 20 is Serene sleeping in a bit, but she's woken from noises in the
Mm.
walls again. She notes
Hmm.
that it's happened on 2 different days, and it's always at 11 o'clock at night. And so she does speculate that there's a hidden passage, but she doesn't know what it's being used for. I think she does sort of also speculate that it's the king using it, but again, we don't
Yeah,
know. Like
we
it
don't
happens,
know.
it's happened now 3 times, twice that she's noted here, and and the one time that has now happened, and
Mm.
also when Raoden went through. So it can't just be
Oh
Raoden, right?
yeah.
It's got to be somebody else.
Ooh, you know what I think? I think it's going to happen more. I don't think it's. I think these first three times were the first few times,
Hmm.
the actual first three times that Serena gets woken up by
Hmm.
um, people going through the passage. But I feel like it's more is going to happen because now everyone knows about the passage.
Hmm.
So maybe it's going to be used more to, go into the palace, take things from there, steal things, and bring into Elantris. That's my thing. Maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Like tools for farming, brooms or more weapons or anything really.
Hmm.
I feel like that's what's going to happen. It's like a little underground smuggling route that they've discovered.
Yeah.
Um, but
That's
it's
interesting.
also a bit of a risk because I think they mentioned when Karada and Raoden smuggle in that they want to, or Raoden says they want to reduce the amount of times they use that particular passage they went through
Mm,
because King Iadon is so paranoid. He does close them off and use different routes because he doesn't want people to think that they can just make use of it and try to hunt people down or move around the
right.
palace, I should say.
Yes. Yeah.
So maybe someone's using it without that knowledge. I don't know. I don't
Could
know.
be. Could
Yeah,
be.
it could be
Yeah.
maids. It could be maids.
Yeah. So that
I
is
bet
it. That is
maids.
that is a lot of chapters.
I felt like
Um
we rushed that. I don't like it.
I know I don't like it either, right? I like
Uh,
what we used to do. So that's why
yeah.
we're going back. But yeah, that was, almost 150 pages of this book.
Mm,
Covered a lot of ground. There are I think we're going to get a confrontation with the last gang.
hmm
And something's going to happen with Delof. I don't think he's long for this world. And
I think they're gonna Delof and Hrathen are gonna have to fight over the parish. I think Delof
yeah,
is going to actually convince the people to not listen to Hrathen anymore because
I think you
Hrathen is
might be
wrong and
right.
is not truly, a follower of Jadith.
Yeah.
And Hrathen is going to lose everything again. But I think he's going to realize it because again, he's always haunted by what the mishap was in the Duladel Republic.
Mm-hmm.
That he's going to like pick on it right away. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's going to be too late, and the ball is going to be in motion again, and he's going to be at a loss.
Yeah.
And I think Rothen's going to side with some other key players that he wasn't before. I'm going to say with Serena and her group of
Yeah.
nobles. I
Yeah.
feel
I
like he's
could.
going to do that.
Yeah. He's going to push Delof too far, and they're going to have to ally against him. That
Mm-hmm.
would be very interesting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Also, really interested to see what happens with Raoden. I mean, Hrathen chapters right now are pretty interesting because of all the political intrigue and that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But the magic system is starting to get a little bit fleshed out, and I'm interested to see more of this and where it goes, and if they can actually fix Elantris. Do we get a happy ending? We're still a long ways away, but we'll
Maybe.
see. Yeah.
Mm. I
So yeah,
think.
go. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm actually excited to see what Serena does when she goes into Elantris for her widow trials. I want to.
Yes.
It would be curious to know if she doesn't like if Raoden is the one that goes up to greet Serena. Will Serena recognize it's Raoden, or Raoden just have like a veil and call himself Lord? Because he might
Lord
actually
Spirit.
Lord Spirit,
Yeah.
right? I like to see that interaction. That'd be
Could
really
be.
cool
Should be
if it does
interesting.
happen. Yeah.
So
Or will
yeah.
Serena get attacked? Gasp!
What
Maids. It
will
was maids
happen?
the whole time.
Maids, man.
Name of this episode.
Yeah.
They're
So
always
yeah,
maids.
our next episode will be 5 chapters, 21
Please.
and to 25, including
Mm-hmm.
25.
Yep.
And that will be the cadence going forward. We'll get back to our regular way of doing it where we dive a little bit deeper, but we needed to cover all of this ground. This episode's actually not as much longer than normal. It's like an hour and a half.
We did speed through it, and I
We did.
feel like I don't like that.
We probably missed
Uh,
some things. Yeah, for sure.
there were some
Uh,
things I didn't want to leave out, but there's some moments I'm like, wait, Mike, we just talk about this quick.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm glad you stopped me at a few points because you brought up some really important stuff. So
Mm.
yeah, we'll have a bit more of a fine-tooth comb for the next episode where we cover the next chapters, and that will be next week. You have any other closing remarks?
Um, not that I could think of really.
Okay.
Um, I guess that's just another one for the books.
I knew you were going to do it. I was just waiting to see if you were going to do it.
Hey, you see that grin on my face, so you know
Uh,
me.
all right.
Uh, all right,
Bye,
see you guys
everybody.
and gals.
Bye.